I'll read it for the viewers. Markets are all about cycles, the same cycles repeating over and over again. And one big cycle indicator might be flashing a signal right now. It's the copper gold ratio. The copper gold ratio is important because it's a signpost that tells us that where we are in the economic cycle. It has big implications for risk assets like stocks and Bitcoin. And it might be making a big cycle turn. What is the copper gold ratio?
Yeah,
Yada,
that's
yada,
what it
yada.
is. Yeah, the copper gold ratio measures the price of copper relative to the price of gold, and it's just like when we effectively chart Bitcoin against USDT or Bitcoin against ETH or Bitcoin against Sol. Like you're seeing which one is outperforming effectively. So, i.e., on that chart I just showed you, if I'm to get rid of the ISM, um, what you want to see in this chart effectively is copper is outperforming gold when this is moving up. So, i.e., this window here, this window here, this window here, and what I believe we're going to see will be this window here. Um, so there he shows us this, and here he has kindly outlined. I didn't have time to do this, unfortunately, but he's correctly clearly outlined these phases. So for more than 3 decades, the copper gold ratio has moved in long-term cycles of roughly 3 to 6 years. We can separate each individual cycle into 2 phases: a rising phase, green, and a falling phase, red. So, i.e., green would be momentum with the ISM going up, and red would be downturn of it effectively. So, what does the copper gold ratio mean for risk assets? The strongest periods of performance for US stock indices have historically coincided with rising phases in the copper gold ratio. And you can see here again, as he's done this very nice graphic, when the S&P, you can see when copper gold ratio spikes up, S&P typically rises in those same windows as well, even if the copper gold ratio isn't a massive spike. Like here, it's quite a small, like small grind up and to the right, and we saw the same in the S&P, and you can see it here and here. Whereas equity bear markets and extended flat choppy periods almost always coincide with copper gold ratio falling phases, although a falling phase is not always bad news for stocks. So what we've outlined there is, so again, this period here where you could say the S&P arguably from point A to point B was still rising, but copper gold ratio is down, is that the copper gold ratio going down isn't always bad for stocks. And this current period we're in also shows us that, because copper gold ratio has been going down. What's happened to S&P arguably since, well, the start of 2022 up and to the right, even though we had that bear market kind of just in the front half of it. All of Bitcoin's mania bursts, 2012, 2013, 2016, 2017, 2020, and 2021, have coincided with rising phases in the copper gold ratio, while all of Bitcoin's bear markets have coincided with the falling phases in the copper gold ratio.